Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akuswa-Dixon. To deliver a summer school that would not only reflect the chosen theme, but also to strengthen collaboration, creativity, and innovation across every college and unit of KNUST. This year's organizing journey has been particularly inspiring. Our committee was entrusted with a broad and exciting mandate to design a program that captures the spirit of this year's theme, to secure the needed resources, coordinate speakers and logistics, and ensure that the summer school remains inclusive, engaging, and impactful. In all these, the committee rose to the task with remarkable dedication and teamwork. Members from every college, directorate, and office came together, contributing their time, their expertise, and networks to ensure that this year's event would stand out in both scope and quality, and indeed, it has. I am pleased to announce that this year's committee, with support from Madam Vice Chancellor and management, raised about 66% of the total budget from sponsorships. Now, this milestone is a testament to the commitment, creativity, and credibility of the team, and I wish to publicly commend every member of the 11th Summer School Organizing Committee for this exceptional achievement. These achievements also reflect the deep trust and belief that our partners, our sponsors, and the wider KNUST community have in the value and vision of the Summer School Initiative. Beyond fundraising, the committee worked tirelessly to ensure that every college and unit developed sub-teams tailored to their context. And as you will see throughout this 3-day program, every college and unit has crafted sub-themes that reflect their unique priorities, from the use of AI tools in healthcare, in scientific research and engineering, to integrating it in the teaching, administration, and the social sciences. Now, these discussions would not only expand our understanding, but would also help shape how KNUST and indeed Ghana's higher educational system positions itself in this AI-driven world. I wish to also acknowledge the Vice Chancellor's visionary leadership, under which the summer school continues to evolve into a platform for innovation, for collaboration, and transformative learning. To the provosts, directors, deans, and all staff who will be facilitating and participating in the sessions, your commitment keeps the spirit of the summer school alive. Distinguished colleagues, this year's summer school is not merely about technology, it is about people. It is about how we, as a university community, can harness AI to make education inclusive, research more efficient, and administration more responsive. So as we begin today's plenary and sessions that follow, I invite all of us to engage deeply, to share freely, and to imagine boldly, because the ideas we explore here will help define the next chapter of KNUST's excellence. Once again, welcome to the 11th KNUST Summer School. Let us learn together, let us build together, and let us lead together with innovation, responsibility, and purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Francis Kemauso, the Planning Committee Chair, for your opening remarks. We're going to take the opening address, and that will be done by the Dean for Quality Assurance and the Planning Office, Professor Jerry John Ponyo. Please, a round of applause for him as he mounts the stage to give us the opening address.
Good morning. Let me stand on the existing protocol well laid by my brother and friend, Professor Francis Nete Kemaso. It is a great pleasure and an honor to address you at this 11th edition of the KNUST Summer School, one of the university's most enduring and impactful capacity building programs. The summer school offers us a moment to pause, reflect, and retool as a community of scholars, administrators, and professionals, all working towards one vision of excellence in teaching, research, innovation, and service to society. The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Summer School is not just an event. It is a platform for knowledge sharing, professional development, and institutional learning. Since its inception, it has brought together all categories of staff, senior members, senior staff, and junior staff to engage on emerging issues in higher education and to strengthen our capacity for effective institutional delivery. This year, we gather under the theme, Artificial Intelligence in Education. It is both timely and forward-looking. Across the world, artificial intelligence is transforming every aspect of human endeavor, and education is no exception. As a premier science and technology university, KNUST must not only adapt to this transformation, but lead it with vision, responsibility, and creativity. This year's theme, therefore, invites us to explore how AI can enhance teaching, improve research, streamline administration, and open new possibilities for innovation across our various colleges and units. Now a brief about the journey so far. The KNUST Summer School has grown steadily into one of the university's flagship professional development initiatives. From its humble beginning in 2011, when only 250 senior members participated in the first edition, we have grown to 2023, the 10th edition, which explored academic industry partnership for national development, highlighting how collaboration drives sustainable progress. And at the 10th, we had a participation of at least 2,500 members. Through the changing themes, the central idea has remained the same: to build the human and institutional capacity that sustains KNUST as a hub of excellence globally. The 11th KNUST Summer School is beginning today, and we are running until 23rd. And as Francis rightly said, the various colleges and units have carved out themes that are tailored towards their unique line of service within the university. For the College of Health Sciences, we are reflecting on integrating AI-powered assistance tools into healthcare and clinical training. For College of Science, we are looking at AI in science and technology education. For the College of Art and Built Environment, we are looking at adopting artificial intelligence in art, education, and built environment practice and research. For the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, they have not been left out. We are looking at AI in humanities and social sciences in education. For the College of Agric and Natural Resources, we are looking at harnessing artificial intelligence for education in precision agriculture and natural resource management. For the College of Engineering, we are looking at leveraging AI for quality engineering education. For the University Information and Technology Services, we are looking at understanding the role of responsible use of AI in IT management to enhance technology in education. For the University Library, we are looking at AI in libraries, tools, ethics, and opportunities. For the health services, we are looking at AI in medicine, advancing diagnostics, research, and patient-centered care. For the registrar's offices, we are looking at leveraging AI for smart university administration. For finance, audit, and procurement offices, we are looking at AI tools and data analytics, building capacity for innovation education. For the security services, we are looking at leveraging artificial intelligence to enhance security and safety on KNUST campus. And for the administrative assistants, we are looking at empowering administrative excellence through Microsoft 365, streamlining workflows, enhancing collaboration, and driving public productivity. For the technicians, optimizing technical support and digital infrastructure with Microsoft 365. And for KNUST Basic School, we are looking at using AI tools in teaching and assessment. It is evident that this diverse set of themes clearly demonstrates the inclusiveness of this summer school. There is a place for everyone. No one is being left behind. From the classroom to the clinic, from the office to the laboratory, AI is taking over. Why this year's summer school matters? Distinguished colleagues, this year's summer school could not have come at a better time. Artificial intelligence is reshaping global education, changing how we teach, learn, assess, and manage institutions. But technology alone is not enough, as has already been said. It must be guided by the creativity, ethics, and human-centered thinking that define who we are as the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This program is therefore not only about tools and systems, it is about people. It is about how we as a university community can use innovation to improve our efficiency, strengthen our service delivery, and empower each other for the future of work. Then I conclude. The 11th KNUST Summer School promises to be a transformative learning experience for every member of our university community. Through its engaging plenaries, interactive sessions, and practical workshops, participants will explore how artificial intelligence can be harnessed to drive excellence. As the coordinating office of this is delighted to support yet another step in KNUST's journey towards becoming a globally recognized center of innovation and excellence. Colleagues, before I take my seat, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, for the opportunity that has been granted to serve the good office of the Quality Assurance and Planning Office as its Dean. Madam VC, thank you. Gratitude also to the Planning Committee, led by my own brother and friend, Professor Francis Nete Kamaso. Thank you. Finally, I would like to thank all the sponsors, with special mention to the French Embassy, duly represented at this session through the AI for SD project, for all the support. Let us all make time to participate fully, to learn, to share, and to grow together. The future of higher education is already here, and together we can make KNUST a model for how universities across Africa can embrace AI with purpose and with pride. Madam Vice Chancellor, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor J.J. Ponyo, for that very inspiring opening address. We really appreciate the extensive work that's gone in, and we look forward to participating. If we all do, say aye. Thank you so much. At this point, we'd like to invite our guiding star, a true leader, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, and I would like to hear it louder for her as she gives us her opening address.
Thank you very much, Anita. Since we are in school, I think it's proper to say, good morning, classmates. Are we not? Good. We are classmates. And it's a delight to see all of you here this morning. I hope you are doing very well. And with the protocols beautifully established, I think I'm going to take advantage of that. Let me calm your nerves. AI will not take over. No, we can't start school like that. Our human resource will continue to be our wealth. It is what we decide to do with the tools. That is what matters. Until we've put the data into AI, technology will not take us anywhere. Classmates, approved? Let's clap for ourselves. So I once again welcome all of you. Let me submit the appreciation of management to you, my dear classmates, for making time to be part of this 11th summer school as we engage on such an important conversation of contemporary significance to the work that we do. Before I proceed, I want to crave your indulgence to do something. Please, all the members of the organizing committee led by you, Prof, can you be up? Organizing committee, summer school, 11th summer school. I'm sure they are all busy. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them, clap for them, clap for them. It is not an easy job. When you see things happening like that, you can be sure some people haven't slept. Prof, I equal to you and the team. Do it for them once again. Kindly take your seats. As you may know, for many years, KNUST has championed and utilized our summer school space as a unique platform to deliberate on issues affecting our core mandate as a University of Science and Technology in a bid to continuously improve. I've always reminded you that one of the things that drives us as a university is quality, continuous improvement. So the question we are always asking ourselves is, where do we go from here? What next? How do we improve? And in trying to answer that question, we felt that let us spend some time to look at these contemporary tools, emerging technologies. How are we able to deploy them in a more ethical way to make it work for us? That is the essence of this summer school. I will save you the history. Professor J.J. Ponyo did a very good job with that. So let me spare you the that one. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to ensure relevance, stimulate critical engagement, and connect scholarly inquiry with current social realities, this theme, which is artificial intelligence in education, was chosen. And we all agree that is the new kid in our education circles. AI's transformative impact is evident in research, teaching, learning, assessment, administration. We cannot leave it out. And as a science and technology university, we have to be on board. Consequently, addressing AI in education, my dear classmates, it's a good conversation to have. And therefore, I encourage all of us to take active interest in all the discussions that will go on at our various colleges. In fact, to make it very simple for us, the model that the committee chose, they said summer school at your doorstep, meaning that they are carrying the summer school to wherever you are, colleges, units, everywhere. Please, don't just be a classmate for this opening and then vanish into thin air. Please make sure that you remain a very committed and dedicated classmate so that we can all finish school together. Approved? Thank you very much. So nobody, as the dean said, is left out. One of the exciting news is that all our affiliate institutions, our sister institutions and partners, as for them, they are spoiled for choice because they can just decide to be anywhere. So you just look at the topics, the menu that has been served, and you just choose where you want to be. I can only look forward to a very, very exciting summer school where we are engaging with each other, we are networking, we are picking our thoughts. Please, just ensure that by the time the school is done, at least you have one take-home in your pocket. Otherwise, then it didn't go very well for you. I am going to make sure that I do that. So come along with me. In all this, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our core mandate as a science and technology university, which includes preparing the next generation of innovators and thinkers, cannot be lost on us. As we do all this, our number one customers must be at the center of what we are doing. And having said all that, I have the singular honor, and before I actually do that, let me thank all our resource persons and our guests for making it to come. I understand that Shafika from UNESCO is joining us online. Is that correct? We thank you very much. And all our classmates who are also joining us virtually. Even if you are presenting, you are still a classmate, because once in a school, the name we give to ourselves is that we are classmates. So we are very grateful to all of you for making time to be here. Let us make this summer school count, so that at the end of it all, we are all very clear in our minds what we want to do with this contemporary tool that has been handed down to us. The answer, the decision we take on that will decide how it works for us. And I want to challenge you that let us make sure that whatever we do with the AI tool, it is working together for our good, not the other way around. On that note, I am very, very happy and delighted to declare the 11th summer school duly opened. I greet you all, classmates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosia-Dixon. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are truly, truly grateful for all the partnership we have received, especially from the French Embassy. We have a rep from the embassy. His name is Mr. Julien Lecard. He's here. He will give us a very short address, and then we'll open and get into our keynote speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's make him feel welcome with a resounding round of applause, Mr. Julien Lecard.
Bonjour, good morning. Dear Prof. Rita Akosia-Dixon, Vice Chancellor, dear Provici, Provost, Visitor, dear Prof. Francis and the Planning Committee, dear all. First of all, thank you so much for hosting the French Embassy delegation today in KNUST. It's for us always a big pleasure, but more than that, an honor to be here. You know how we appreciate this university, KNUST. For us, it's like a light on the... a light. You are showing us, to the French people, the way, and especially in AI. We have a strong partnership with KNUST. Prof. Jerry knows very well that, but sorry, the VCs know that also, especially in AI. So we have this partnership, this project, co-funded by the French Embassy and the French government. You know, for my country, like certainly for all of us, AI is something very new. And when we propose to my government to make a project on AI in my Ministry of Foreign Affairs, okay, but perhaps 2 years ago, but what is AI? And so we explain it, and more than that, not we, Ghanaian people. I remember Jerry, colleagues from AFD, we have some Ghanaian partner in Agence Française de Développement, and they make they create this project, and it convinced my government that we need to work now in AI. Well, now AI is everywhere, but I can assure you that 2 years ago it was not easy in my government. And like I said, the light of KNUST, the light of Ghana, give us the way. And today it's a new occasion, a new opportunity to show that it's working well together. Let me add something, Honorable Vice Chancellor. The next month, France will organize with Tunisia a summit on AI. Perhaps you could say another summit. It's true. But my government, it's a summit on AI on Mediterranean Sea. And they ask us, Julien, we want Ghana part of this summit. Just a summit focusing on Mediterranean Sea. And they say, oh, Ghana should be part of it. You know that the KNUST is everywhere, and now when we want to speak about AI on Mediterranean Sea, KNUST must be part of it. So, congratulations. Well, I don't want to be too long because a lot of things have been said. It's really very important because if you allow me to focus on the students, that perhaps, certainly for me, because as you can see, I'm old, perhaps it's finished for me, but you are the future of the world. AI just will be a tool, because as the VC said, what is more important is human resources, people, and so we cannot let the AI or technology advance without us, because you are the target. You are the most important people. AI, I repeat, AI is just a tool. So take it and use it, but for your people, for people of Ghana, for people of the world, and for you. I think it's very important to know that. We need to use AI for us the people. We mentioned, I know that Mr. Darlington Akogo will speak about the app on AI for health, for agri. That means that agri, especially in Ghana and everywhere, health, especially in Ghana, but everywhere, it's what is very important for us. Health, because we want to live longer, I hope so for me, and agri, because we need to eat, and so it's very important. Perhaps, because I won't read all my speech, sorry for that, Elizabeth, Lizzie. The VC mentioned the ethical challenge of AI. It's true that it's very important that how we can manage to be sure that AI will respect our behavior, our way of thinking, democracy, equality. Certainly there is big challenges about that. And I think that's why it's very important to learn to use AI at university. Like that you will change it, you will manage it. It's very important. And then perhaps, and because I need to speak about my country a little bit, just to mention that this partnership between KNUST and France is the result of our past, of our history. KNUST is very famous. You know, some French universities has asked to KNUST to be their main partner. And thank you especially for the University of Lille. No, thanks to you. Huh? And also, you may know that a French researcher has been awarded of the Nobel Prize on Physics 2 weeks ago, Mr. Michel Devoré, and he's working also on quantum. Oh, sorry, I don't know what is it quantum, because I'm a lawyer, but I think it's very important, especially for connected to AI. So, okay, that shows that excellency of research in Ghana, excellency in research in France, we are made to be together. Perhaps just to add, because we are speaking about, it's a summer school of AI in education, just to mention that we are working at the French Embassy for AI for French language. And one more time, it not occur another place in the world, it's occur in Ghana. We are developing, we are trying to use AI to teach French language. It occur in Ghana for the first time for the French government. So I think, I repeat, I'm sorry, sometimes old people always repeat the same things, but it's here in Ghana. We are doing all those nice things, so thank you so much to Ghana for that. And perhaps, if you may, I will conclude, perhaps now. This summer school, I read the program. There is so many things. You have a lot of opportunities to work on AI. And my colleague, Elizabeth, will be part of it. That's it, Elizabeth? You will be there during 4 days. So I hope you will speak for France, but also for our partnership. And I wish you some a fruitful week on AI in education. And I hope so we'll continue to develop our partnership with France and Ghana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lekar. A round of applause again, ladies and gentlemen. And we truly appreciate your help and support. Our best regards to the French ambassador. Vice Chancellor, for Vice Chancellor, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give you a backstory to our presentation, which is next. It would be from CCAST. AI was introduced to the world as a tool to be harnessed for good. Man eventually accepted AI. As we fall in love and court AI, we need to be conscious of the decisions we make with the tool to use them responsibly. Ladies and gentlemen, I present CCAST. At this point, I'm not the only person wondering which one was AI. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving straight into our keynote speeches. Our very first one will be on AI in education, and it will be delivered online. We'll turn our attention to our screens very soon. It's going to be from the Chief of Section for Technology and AI in Education at UNESCO headquarters in Paris. As an international specialist in data learning, AI and education, she has spent the past 2.5 decades on building community, coaching, professionals, and leading global, regional, and national digital learning initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, let's welcome Dr. Shafika Adams.
The second good thing is that this is something that I've worked on closely with Prof. Jerry Ponyo on it. So a lot of points that we'll be discussing here is in reference to a number of things that we've worked on in the last couple of months. The actual strategy document has been worked on for quite some years now, but we are at the point of full maturity of it. So for Ghana's national AI strategy, what is the vision? No, we go back. No. We go back. We are moving too fast. Okay. So the vision here is to harness AI and AGI for inclusive growth across all sectors and to improve the lives of people in Ghana, becoming a trailblazer for AI leadership. I think our AI is hallucinating. Either that, or maybe there is an AI version of me giving its own speech that we're only finding out about. Okay. So if I'm talking whilst that is in the barrel, can you all still hear me? Okay, I think it's better now, yes. So essentially, to achieve this national AI strategy, there are 8 pillars that we have identified. The pillars includes expand AI education and training, which then also we want to empower youth for AI jobs of the future. We want to deepen digital infrastructure and inclusion, facilitate data access and governance. So then coordinate a robust AI ecosystem and community, accelerate AI adoption in key sectors, and then invest in applied AI research. Then finally, promote AI adoption in the public sector. Okay, so we have quite a full room. How many people here are familiar or understand the term AI? Just kindly put your hand up. That's the entire room, exactly. How many people here are familiar with the term AGI? So much fewer. And I said I switched my title from AI to AGI. So a good way to define AI is that they are machines that are trying to replicate some of the attributes of intelligence. So the things that we can do, like have conversation, be able to study science, math, engineering, medicine, then end up becoming teachers, lecturers, professors, researchers. We now have systems that can replicate some of those tasks. So we collectively call them AI. But the goal of AGI, which I am very much interested in, is that artificial general intelligence. We now are moving towards AI systems that basically can function completely and independently, almost matching human intelligence across board. So not just an AI system that sits there in a chatbot and you ask it, how are you? Or you tell it, do my homework for me, which you should not be doing for the students in the room. And as, Vice Chancellor said, we are all classmates, we are all students. But in the workplace, we all use AI and it helps. But imagine if you now have an AI system that essentially is like a remote worker. So whatever a remote worker can do, an AI system can do. That is where the field is actually headed. And the reason why I switched it from AI to AGI is that as a country, we should not be thinking about how do we implement what exists today. Especially as an academic institution, it should be geared towards where is the future going and how do we ensure that we start building it today. Next slide. So, I come from the private sector, and so the question always is that if you want to do anything, why should you care about it? When it comes to AI, why should we as a country care about it? Academic institutions, students, why should you care about it? Let's look at some economic analysis briefly around AI. Because it takes our AI system just 5 seconds to be able to generate a report. Of course, you still need a clinician to look at it. You still need those portions. But the AI system reduces the time to your first report and the cost involved. We are doing the same thing in biology. So we built an AI system that can basically create potential new drug, validate them computationally, all of it in 3 to maximum 20 minutes. And this is work that used to take computational biologists weeks and months to do, and now you've reduced it to minutes by leveraging AI systems. Companies are reporting saving up to $50 million across different departments by leveraging AI. And there are companies that have essentially, a lot of this call center work. So there's a company that has an AI system doing the work of over 700 people. Next slide. Oh, and the last one there. So Google was able to reduce the cost of the cooling, their energy consumption, by up to 40%. And for Google, the size of Google, that is billions of dollars being saved. So imagine as a country if we're leveraging AI systems to improve energy access, to improve our energy production. We could cut down cost and increase revenue drastically. So coming back to this idea of AGI, within the space of AI, we have what we call scaling laws. So scaling laws is a form of power law. Power law basically implies that, when you do the exponent, right? So if you have 10 raised to the power 2 to the power 3 and all of that, those are connected to power laws. What that means is that within AI, we can predict if we spend a certain amount of money, a certain volume of data, a certain amount of compute, the kind of intelligence that we get. So right from GPT-3, you can predict what GPT-4 would look like, GPT-5 would look like. And so when you use this calculation, it then results to the fact that by 2027, 2028, which is literally 2-3 years away, we will have AI systems that possess human-level intelligence across most fields. This is not happening 20 years, 30 years later, right? So there's bound to be one of the greatest revolutions in human history coming up. We are just at the early phase of it, but in about 3 years is where we'll see the real huge jump. And this is going to transform society. The question is that, where do we want to be as a country, Ghana? Where do we want to be as academic institution, KNUST? Do we want to be at the leading front of this, or do we want to catch up when it gets here? Next slide. So AI systems promise to add 15 trillion to the global economy and then be able to add 40% improvement in productivity to labor. But one interesting statistics is that it will add over 26% to the GDP of economies that are able to aggressively leverage it. Next slide. Yes. So we just talked about the 26%. The question is that if we as a country, Ghana, we do exactly that, we aggressively leverage AI, work towards AGI, how much would it add to our economy? The estimate is that it will add about $20 billion to Ghana's GDP by 2030. That is the future that is before us. Coming back to my earlier point, right? So the 20 billion, sometimes when we discuss it, some people feel like 20 billion to Ghana's GDP, that's a lot too. But don't forget, we looked at tiny companies that came out of nowhere. They are run about 30 people, and they created more than that 20 billion worth of value in a matter of months. So if tiny companies made up of 30 people can create over $20 billion of value in 6 months, 7 months, as a country made up with over 30 million people with brilliant scientists, brilliant engineers in KNUST nationwide, I think we all agree $20 billion to our economy should be easy, right? Okay, so I'll hold all of us up to it. And then if you compare this to other asset class, so I said there's no asset class in the world that can give you those kind of returns. If you look at gold, so gold brought Ghana 7.6 billion, right? And oil brought us just 1 billion. Implying that if we are talking about AI, prioritization of AI, if we do care about growing our economy, if we do care about our numbers, we should prioritize AI even over gold and over oil, because the potential for AI is much bigger. But again, AI is a multiplier. So everything we are doing in gold, oil, we can further multiply it by leveraging AI systems. Next slide. Collectively, as a planet, the SDGs guide us to ensure that everything we are doing is connected to development. So you have the SDGs, which are the Sustainable Development Goal. With AI, it's applicable to every single one of them. Some of the key ones that also connect to our national priorities is the one on education, industry, health, and then also looking at agricultural productivity. Next slide. Can we, the slide's a bit shifted. Can we move it a bit? Oh, okay, okay. So this is where the responsibility part of the speech comes in. What is the role of academia in ensuring that we actually leverage AI for national development? Let's take a historical angle. So the East Asian tigers, you're talking about the countries like Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and the rest. What they did, how many people here are familiar with TSMC? Okay, so TSMC is a company that very few people know about, but it's arguably the most important company in the world, because there is no electronic device that you have here that is not using a chip made in Taiwan by TSMC. And TSMC is a tiny island. So we are talking about not just your phones, we are talking about even your car door. When you open your car doors, if you are controlling the glasses going up and down, the camera recording, the microphone, the screen, all of this are using chips made by a tiny island, and even more so a single company on that tiny island, TSMC. What made such a tiny island no one cares about Taiwan? How many people get up and say, I'm traveling to Taiwan, Taiwan is my vacation destination? But they've made themselves, essentially, they've positioned themselves in a way that the world cannot run without them. Should something happen to Taiwan, which is a whole political thing, unfortunately, right now, but should something happen to Taiwan, the whole global economy will shut down. The way Taiwan was able to position themselves in this is they became the world leader in semiconductors. Not China, not US, not Europe. No one can make chips without going through TSMC. And they were able to do this to ensure by going through or by building strong university and industry collaborations. They have skill sets in Taiwan, produced only in Taiwan, that you don't get anywhere in the world. And that's because TSMC has strong ties with the university. If we truly want those tremendous transformation, we need to create a culture of science, a culture of research. So everything that is happening here in KNUST, how do we ensure that it becomes a culture reflected across the entire country? Which means that KNUST should have much more in-depth influence into the national strategy, which is the case in the national AI strategy. But we should be doing this in every sector. KNUST should be consulted if we want to prioritize how do we transform Ghana. Because there's no civilization today that has managed to transform without leveraging science and technology. That should not be an afterthought. That should be your priority. Next slide. So what is the responsibility for KNUST and other academic institutions that we have in the country? Learning from history. We need to produce AGI, researchers and experts. Not AI, AGI, researchers and experts. How do we do that? We ensure that the programs we have in KNUST already are embedding this cutting-edge AI fields like AGI research into their curricula. So earlier, Prof. Ponyo mentioned some of the different programs that are happening here that are already embedding AI. We need to see more of that. We've been working with Responsible AI Lab for some years now. There's been a lot of workshop programs. KNUST is actually, without a doubt, the leader in academic institutions, probably not just Ghana, I'll say one of the leaders on the continent. Yes. So we need to see more of this. In my company, probably 90% of our AI researchers and engineers actually come from KNUST. But the question is that as we are heading towards this AGI in about 3 years, how many can we ensure that come out from KNUST? And the only way we can ensure that is by including it in the training programs rigorously. And again, so there should be more AI workshops, short courses that are availed within the school. And the summer school in itself is a testimony to this. The next thing is that we should be producing cutting-edge AI research right here on campus, which is being done. So a lot of things here is not things that need to be started. They've already been started years ago, right here on campus. The goal now is scaling it up, right? Take what REAL is doing and make it 10 times bigger across KNUST, across Ghana. That should be the goal now. We have already proven that it works on pilot phases, it works in the next phase. Now we need to look at a nationwide rollout of this. Then the next thing is that university industry collaboration. And like I mentioned, we already have examples of this. So working with the REAL lab right here in KNUST and then our private sector lab, we've done quite a number of work and research in a number of sectors. So healthcare, we also have agriculture stuff that we are doing. Then coming back to what is called the triple helix model. So that's when there's a clear influence between academia, private sector, and then government. And the national AI strategy, the committee behind this is a testimony to this. So you have the REAL lab, you have Prof. Ponyo, you have myself, my team, then you have people at the Ministry of Communication. We spend months collectively working on this. This ensures that each sector brings in their ideas, their angles. How do we ensure that what we are saying from our point of view is captured within that AI strategy? But so the hope should be that what we've done with the national AI strategy serves as a blueprint across all other sectors. Make sure all those three entities are working together to drive the growth of Ghana and the development of Ghana. Then the next one is that you should be leveraging AI and AGI for research. So there's researching how to build AI systems and AGI. Then there's using AI to improve research. And so what we have done is we've created something called a co-researcher, which I'll go more into details about. But this is what we should be seeing more of. Every single researcher in academia should not attempt to do everything by yourself. You should have an AI as your research assistant. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take, upcoming researchers as research assistants. Do both. Or even the research assistant, you too have your own AI research assistant, right? The whole point of doing all of this is that you can catapult research. Research that is supposed to take 10 years, we could reduce that to 5 years, 2 years, or even less. Next slide. So I mentioned some of the things that we are doing in different sectors. The question is that I'm now making an appeal to everyone working on AI. What are some areas in AI that you could be working on? So we have AI in healthcare. We built a generative AI system where basically within the same AI system, it can do everything from screening, diagnosis, treatment planning, prescriptions, to even drug discovery. Then we've leveraged the same AI system to offer things like CRMs, health providers, even support for students. So if you want to learn, which is the other thing. So having AI as a steady assistant. Tell the AI system, can you break this down to me in a way that, I can understand? Or I prefer analogies using soccer. So explain quantum physics to me in soccer, right? Whatever you want the AI system to do, however you want it to explain things to you, we provide this using our Moremi platform. What are some of the impacts we've had? With our AI system, we've had usage in over 50 countries, and the AI system has processed and generated 100 million tokens. So tokens are basically chunks of words, and that's how we count the work that AI systems are doing. Next slide. And so we've leveraged our AI system, the Moremi platform, to cover all these different sectors. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so this is one of the things that the AI system can do. In this case, it was given an X-ray, and the AI system was able to draft a medical report. So it's looking at the lungs, pleura, mediastinum, the heart, and the bones. I gave a presentation here like 2 years ago, right, where I showed what our AI system was doing. Back then, the AI system would have taken the X-ray and drawn boxes around, let's say, the heart, it would say cardiomegaly. Within that time period, we've basically built something way more powerful than that and way more accessible. So we used to charge $1 for the previous version of the AI system, and now we charge 10 cents for a version that is much, much more powerful. That is the beauty of technology, right? If you look at every sector, healthcare without digital tools, without AI, the cost is always going up. But within that time frame, look at your phones. Those who have been around longer will tell you how expensive those older, less capable phones were. When they had the brick ones, only the rich people could use them. We've gone from that to now every single person in this room has a smartphone. And the prices of smartphone have grown. You could get basically a smartphone nowadays for like even as low as $20. So that's the beauty of technology. The question is that if you take that downscaling of cost, right, and you bring it into sectors that matter most to us, like healthcare, what does that mean? That means every year the cost of healthcare will go down. So today you go into the hospital, you spend 500 cedis. Next year, if you go in there, you spend 50 cedis for the same service. That is what we get when you digitize healthcare and you leverage AI systems. Next slide. So I mentioned the Moremi co-researcher. Now what we are doing is that we are partnering with different research institutions, academic institutions. We are starting with biology. What we do is that we hand you this AI system that is your research assistant, and there are certain tasks that instead of you spending several days, weeks to do, you just ask the AI system to do it. So if we have any biologists here, there's a lot of computational biology tools. Maybe you want to do something called molecular dynamic simulations, right? You might be a well-experienced researcher with 20 years experience, but the tools to do this will take you several weeks and months to learn how to use them. But that is not the research question you want to ask. The tool is a means to an end. You are performing this molecular dynamic simulation to see if, let's say, a new molecule you are interested in binds properly to a certain target. Now, instead of you spending that months doing it, with the Moremi co-researcher, you can simply pass in those two things, the target, the candidate, to the AI system and tell it, perform molecular dynamic simulation and show me the results. And the AI system will do exactly that. That's just one of the things. It does genomics, protein, drug toxicity prediction, all these things. And of course, we can expand this beyond biology. So one of my hope is that every single department here in KNUST would have an AI co-researcher available to researchers, lecturers, professors, students, available to everyone, so that if you are doing something that will take you 6 months of research and then, another 1 or 2 months to put together your preprint, with an AI system, you can reduce that today to, let's say, 1 month of research, have the AI system with you compile the results. Of course, you always supervise everything, and in a week or two, you can have results. That is how we make sure that we are at the forefront of research, right? So we want to expand this to cover all different sectors. We want to work with all the different departments here to make that possible. Next slide. This is what that looks like. So in this case, we are asking the AI system to actually recommend a novel small molecule structure with lung cancer targeting properties. And so if you look at what the AI system is doing, it's actually thinking through the problem. So we call this reasoning. It's reasoning through the problem. So it says, okay, the user wants a novel small molecule for lung cancer with the SMART. Let me start by recalling that lung cancer targets include EGFR, ALK, ROS1, and then it goes on. And it said, I need to generate a SMART that is likely to inhibit the EGFR. Known EGFR inhibitors have certain structural features, like the quinazoline and the that's above my biology pay grade. So the pyrimidine course, right? So this actually goes on for several minutes of the AI system thinking through, coming up with a hypothesis, testing it, seeing the result, and saying, no, this doesn't meet it. Let me go back to the drawing board. Like you can see it doing this for several minutes. We recently did a project with some lab in Imperial College London. So the target here was pathogen and antigen discovery. They gave us an antibody that they discovered from screening some human candidates against, so the target was meningitis. But they did not tell us this was a target. They just gave us the antibody. And we gave it to the AI system. The AI system by itself was able to do research for approximately 3-4 hours. And then in the end came up with a list of top 5 ranked pathogens and antigens, and the correct one was in there, meningitis. Right? So we're actually going to be publishing the results soon. But if you wanted to do a lot of these things manually, it would have taken several weeks and months. The goal here is that we have brilliant minds here, focus on answering the most important questions, leave a lot of manual work to the AI co-researcher or the AI research assistant. And then let's see if we can 10x the number of research we do collectively in KNUST. Imagine everything we do here and then you multiply it by 10. Not just the research, but also the translation of that research to connect to solving problems that we have in the country. Because, again, we do not have the time, right? We need to grow rapidly as a country. So leveraging this across different departments, different specialties is a must. Next slide. So after the AI STEM spent all that time doing all the research, these are some of the novel drugs or novel therapeutic agents created. So on the left, you have an antibody structure, and then on the right, you have the antibody and antigen structure. So basically, what is on the left is a potential new drug. This type of drug is called an antibody. That has never existed anywhere until it was designed by this AI system. Next one. This is also another example for tuberculosis. Same thing here. What the AI system designed does not exist anywhere in the world. It's novel. Next slide. We can do the same thing in agriculture. We have AI systems that we've been working on for detections of diseases and pests. And so you can have an AI system either using satellites, mobile phone, drones to be able to capture diseases and pests. Next slide. This is actually a project that we implemented recently with GIZ. So it's called CADI AI. It's an AI system where you fly a drone. The AI processes the data from the drone and will pinpoint where on the farm you have diseases and pests. And we've done this in there are about 4 to 6 cashew growing regions in Ghana. We did this across all of them. Next slide. So that's the team out there working with farmers, extension officers to be able to fly drones, use the AI system. And again, a number of the people you are seeing actually come from KNUST, right? And so the good thing here is that you can take advantage of the AI programs that are on campus, and then it translates into this. If you want to work in a medical lab using AI, you can do that. If you want to leverage it for clinical hospital applications, or if you want to be in the field. So farming does not have to be. On the way here, there was a lot of debates between Bernard Avler and his colleagues about whether students should still be bringing cutlass to school. And they were arguing that, yes, they said, head, heart, and hand. So it's still essential, right? But in the 21st century, in 2025, even on the farm, agriculture does not have to be about hoe, cutlass, and all of that. If we really want to develop, we cannot be thinking about things like we are stuck in the 20th century. Agriculture can be about using drones, flying them, identifying problems. So instead of just manually working in your field, let the AI system tell you this is where the problem is, this is what you should do, and leverage the drone to do the spraying and all of that. We can make it cutting edge. But what we are doing here, for us to be able to scale it nationwide, we need KNUST to produce more engineers for us, right? Produce more engineers, more researchers that can come join us, scale this up, build their own implementation of it too as well. Next slide. So if you want to put everything that I've said here together, what is the role of academia? For us to be able to achieve this AGI ambition, academia is essential. Academia has a major role to play in that. KNUST has a major role to play in that. What does that involve? We need to embed AI curricula across all academic programs. Scale up what is already happening now across the entire academic landscape of KNUST. Students should take full advantage of all these programs, because if you create them and students dodge them, then there's no benefit. But students should take advantage of these programs. And then the next thing is scale up responsible AI lab. Scale up the work that Prof. Ponyo is doing and the entire team is doing. Scale it up across not just KNUST, but nationwide. we should produce cutting-edge AI research. So the only way we do this is by making AI a priority. AI should become a key priority for KNUST, should become a national research priority. Then the next thing is we should develop even much stronger university-industry collaboration. What we've been doing with the Responsible AI Lab, we should be doing it nationwide across every sector. Industry shouldn't sit somewhere, academia sits somewhere. Academia should produce research, those research should be translated directly into industry. And then the next thing is that we strengthen the triple helix model. Take what exactly happened with the National AI Strategy, where there's a collaboration between academia, industry, and government, and scale it up nationwide so that we truly benefit from AI. And then finally, let's leverage AI and AGI to catapult research. Let's take advantage of AI co-researchers to make sure that we truly solve Ghana's problem, leveraging the minds of Ghana. Thank you.
He makes AI so interesting anytime I listen to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Darlington Akogo. Thank you so much, Darlington. We appreciate the presentation. And as you can see, we are going to learn a lot this summer school. We'll go back to Dr. Shafina Isaacs, but let's take a musical interlude from the CCAST band. Thank you so much for that wonderful KT rendition. A round of applause for them one more time. Vice Chancellor, I think I've introduced Dr. Shafin already. So do we have Dr. Isaacs back on our screen? Dr. Isaac, can you hear us? The AI is hallucinating again. Forgive. Dr. Isaac, can you hear us? Hello, Dr. Isaac. Good morning. We can hear you loud and clear. I don't know, maybe I have an AI chip in my brain, I can hear her. Dr. Isaacs, can you hear us? Good morning. It's morning still. I hope you're doing well. We thank God. We have the Vice Chancellor here. We have a full house, and we are ready to listen to you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So when we talk about cultivating critical AI capability in Ghana, at KNUST and elsewhere, a big part of our strategy also has to be how do we retain that talent and how do we also leverage the global African diaspora, including from Ghana, who are working elsewhere as part of the talent that we have nurtured and cultivated. And that is a challenge that I think we need to address collectively. And at UNESCO, we stand ready to work with your government and with your leadership in higher education to address the root causes of some of these challenges. As an international United Nations specialized agency, UNESCO is tasked to develop standards, we set norms, we are a laboratory of ideas, we build capacity, we convene global communities, and we serve as a clearinghouse. But all of our work in education and in AI in education is centered on some foundational, fundamental principles of building and retaining and defending human rights, human dignity, enhancing and expanding access to quality, equitable education that is inclusive, that is ethical, that is socially just. And we stand very firmly and strongly for education as a public good, including our public universities. And so it is in that context that I'd like to talk to you about how is UNESCO approaching the very complex issues around AI in education. We have produced a number of frameworks and recommendations, the foremost of which is the world's first recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence that has been endorsed by 100 member states, including Ghana. And we've produced a number of frameworks, which I'll talk a little bit about, around specifically AI in education, a policy guidance on generative AI in education and what governments, including the Ghanaian government, Ministry of Education, and institutional leadership need to think about when we are developing policies and strategies, including the cultivation of AI talent in our institutions. And so our starting point is to recognize the issue of AI, including in education, is a very complex, it's very volatile, it is very fluid, it is very ambiguous. In fact, it is a contested space. There is no one singular view about what AI is and what it is doing to our social systems, including education. As UNESCO, we are therefore saying that we need to engage with AI as a contested space where people disagree about what it is and what it is doing. And in that way, we can open the space for more complex conversations around what AI is. We recognize that AI as an ecosystem is actually fundamentally unequal, and that it is potentially generating deeper inequalities if we are not careful. That we also know that there are many different, very divergent and conflicting narratives about AI in education. We also believe that every single day, AI is increasingly embedded and embodied in our daily lives for every single one of us who are sitting in the room and who are engaging online in this forum. We also think that it is not just about the technologies, but it is also the social and the ecological and planetary ecosystems and ecologies around the technologies. And that in positioning and defining what it is, we think that there's greater value in seeing AI as an ecosystem that is socio-technical, it is social, it is cultural, it is linguistic, and it is also ecological in the context of its effects on the environment. And so that is our starting point, that it is a contested space, there isn't just one view, and that as UNESCO, we are inviting a more open, conversation around the contradictions and the contestations related to AI. Secondly, we believe that we need to challenge an approach that suggests that AI is simplistic, it is certain, it is commonsensical, and we need to challenge instrumental reasoning around AI, that it is linear, that it is clear-cut, that it is predictable. And instead, we are suggesting that when we talk about AI, we need to highlight the fact that it is messy. It is already engaging us in very messy social systems, and that it is illuminating and creating further messiness and complexity. And so we cannot ignore how complex it is also making our education systems. And that is our second proposition. And we are also saying that as UNESCO, our approach needs to be that we illuminate, we show up that AI has visible and invisible ways in which it is potentially deepening inequalities and injustices, while it is also hosting huge opportunities, huge potential. We must also be mindful that it is also engendering more inequality and injustice. And so we are opening up that conversation, and that is our invitation to you as well. Very importantly, the stance that the United Nations, including UNESCO, is taking is that we believe and we need to stand for an AI ecosystem that operates in the public interest, in the interest of people, in the interest of humanity and the planet, that in a way that is human-centered, not machine-centered, that it is sustainable, that is equitable and ethical by design and in practice. And so when we are talking about how can we create, use and engage with the consequences of AI, these are the fundamental principles that we need to be viewing the design of AI and its use and the consequence management of its use as well. That is a fundamental starting point. The second key point, in addition to our fundamental stance and principled stance, is that we have had to learn to appreciate how is generative AI. And our colleague, Mr. Darlington, spoke very eloquently and very passionately about what the possibilities are for Ghana around AI. We think that it is important to understand how is AI and generative AI like ChatGPT, large language models, how is it different from earlier classes of technologies? How is it different to the mobile phone when it first arrived in Ghana, or the telecenters that we started in the 1990s? How is it different? We believe that we need to keep watching how different it is becoming, because that's a rapidly changing phenomenon. But we know that for the first time, we have a technology that is now creating content. It's not just delivering content, it is also generating content in different modes, that it is operating not based on script, but it is emerging. We also recognize that for the first time we have a technology that is not just a tool, that AI is increasingly becoming an agent, it is a co-agent, it is an actor, it is conversational. It can engage with us. It can talk back to us. And these are some very fundamental differences that we need to appreciate in terms of how different it is from earlier classes of technologies. And now we are seeing that it is becoming more and more human-like, to the extent that we can confuse when we engage with ChatGPT and large language models. We can engage with it and easily be fooled that we are almost talking to a human being in the way it is responding to our prompts. We also know that this technology is unknowable, it is unpredictable, it is unexplainable, it is increasingly becoming an agent and an autonomous agent that can act outside increasingly of human control. And these are fundamental traits that we need to seriously consider because it is rapidly developing as these autonomous agents, as we speak today, in terms of its capabilities, in terms of the energy that it is taking up, in terms of the compute power that it is using, and we are all monitoring that space very, very tightly. And so as UNESCO, we found it very useful when we think of a metaphor to define what AI is. We often refer to it as an iceberg, that above the waters, it looks potentially that it offers huge possibilities for us in education, that it can save us a lot of time, that it can create lots of efficiencies, that it can work as an agent for the first time. Every teacher, every lecturer, every professor can have their own agent, assistant as AI, that every student can have a tutor that can guide their work through AI. These are all huge possibilities that it can help us with our thinking, it can help us with our writing, it can help us with our research in ways beyond the human imagination. These are all real possibilities, and we've already seen examples of that. But we cannot just look at the affordances. We also have to be mindful of that which is invisible, the disaffordances, or what Sasha Chuck, Constanza Chuck talks about, disaffordances. It is also causing huge environmental destruction in terms of the energy that it is taking up. It is built on the exploitation of underpaid workers, especially in Africa. It is a lucrative market in education that is premised on commercializing and privatizing our public education systems. It is also based on non-stop surveillance and the death of privacy, and that we've already seen privacy leakages. And also the erosion of rich human practices. There are many research that's coming out that the students are now offloading all their thinking, and we are flattening our capability to think if we are outsourcing our thinking to the machine. There are biases, there's elements of reinforcing discrimination, racism, sexism, and our wonderful program director talked about hallucinations or confabulations that AI is generating. So these are very real challenges that we have to take into account when we make decisions and choices about the design and use of AI in our education systems as well, and that it's not a one-sided picture. And so as UNESCO, we stand ready to engage with KNUST and its leadership and the government of Ghana and the Ministry of Education, whom we welcomed in September. The Honorable Minister of Basic Education actually attended the Digital Learning Week that we hosted, our ministerial roundtable, where we debated and discussed some of these urgent priorities. And the urgent priorities is the need to raise awareness, critical awareness, of all in our education systems, all our teachers, our lecturers, our professors, our researchers, because our survey in UNESCO has taught us that in higher education, of those who responded to our survey, almost 90% of people who responded said that they are using AI to help them with research, with writing, etc. But more than 50% said that they are not confident, that they need capacity, that they're not aware of all the difficulties, the challenges, the dangers, the threats of AI. And so we need significant AI awareness raising, AI literacy, AI capabilities in our institutions. We also know that many of our higher education institutions are in the process now of developing with the ministries of education national AI policies and strategies, including institutional policies and strategies. I'm not aware and I'm not sure if KNUST has an institutional AI policy and strategy and what it says. but a big part of the strategies that are emerging in higher education includes the need to build institutional AI capacity, to build staff AI capabilities, to build very consciously AI talent and capability in ways that where we can keep and retain our retention strategies at places like KNUST, which is a leading institution on the African continent, that we need to build and retain our AI talent, that we need to develop new AI pedagogies, the way we learn and teach, the way we design our curricula in all of the disciplines, the way we assess learning and teaching in the context of thinking, critical thinking being outsourced to the machine. We need to be revisiting how do we assess learning and teaching now. All of that is up for grabs and needs to be included in our AI institutional policies and strategies in higher education. What is KNUST's strategy for AI research and innovation in ways that is cutting edge, as Mr. Darlington has talked about? What is cutting edge research for Ghana, for Africa? What kinds of research problems can we solve with African homegrown AI tools and technologies in our local languages, in our that perpetuates and strengthens our local cultures in Ghana and across the African continent? That is the kind of research and development agenda that we need to be thinking about. How do we develop our leadership capacity, the partnerships, and the change management that is needed is a conversation that as UNESCO, we stand ready to partner with you to engage in some of these challenges that lie ahead of us. What we have done is we have already tried to answer the question, how do we cultivate the relevant knowledge, the attitudes, the values, the ways of knowing, the ways of being that teachers, teacher education students, researchers need to engage with proactively and co-creatively in an increasingly AI-augmented yet unequal world. And we are beckoning, we think that this calls for an inclusive, alternative, socio-technical imagination, or imaginary as we talk about as academics. And so what we have done as UNESCO is we've developed an AI competency framework for teachers and an AI competency framework for students. And we are currently, both these frameworks are addressing and based on fundamental principles that center teacher rights and autonomy and agency. We center human agency, equity, and inclusion. It is based on transformative teaching and learning that is grounded in ethics and values, and also the notion of supporting lifelong learning with and sometimes without AI. And we are raising questions about under what conditions do we leverage AI, do we co-create AI, and what are the conditions under which we do not use AI? Under what conditions is AI too harmful to use, too threatening, too dangerous to use in our systems? Those are very important questions, and we're posing those questions in our competency frameworks. And so the question that we've asked is, what is an AI-capable professor, or an AI-capable teacher, or teacher educator, or student in the context of Ghana, of KNUST, etc.? And we've identified 5 fundamental capabilities that we need to cultivate. And this is all spelled out in our competency frameworks. The first is that we need to cultivate a sense of agency as human beings, as teachers, as professors, as doctors, as learners. We need to explore in our engagement with AI, how do we ensure and arrest human control so that the machine doesn't control? And that we define as agency. It's the power and the capability to control decision-making when we engage with AI so that the AI doesn't make decisions. We've had the unfortunate case recently where a young student teenager engaged with AI, where the AI directed the conversation, he lost his sense of agency and he ended up taking his life by surrendering control to the AI. And this is one example. There have been a few like that, that reflects the threats and the dangers that come with our giving up our control and agency as humans if we work with AI in a way that doesn't ensure that we cultivate our human agency. So that is if we are AI capable, it means that we have retained and cultivated our sense of agency. Then we are capable. It also means that we know how our values, our ethics, when is it that our ethics are challenged, when something is right or wrong, and that we are AI capable if we can make decisions that are grounded in our sense of ethics and values, and that we can exercise an ethical agency. What is right and what is wrong? Is it right to claim that the work that the AI has produced as our own, when it's not our own? It doesn't raise questions of plagiarism. Underneath that sits an ethical values question. We also think that we are AI capable if we can understand how the technologies work. What is our understanding of AI fundamentals? How AI tools and systems work? And very importantly, as Mr. Darlington has also said, we must create our own AI tools. Then we are AI capable. So if we can understand the fundamentals and co-create AI tools and systems that speak our languages, engage with our cultures, that can enrich our cultures, then we know that we are AI capable. We are also AI capable if we can understand the application, the critical application of AI when we teach and when we learn and we integrate it in our teaching and learning practices. So as a professor, when we are lecturing and we're using AI to lecture, that we can do it in such a way that it enhances learning and teaching, critical learning, critical thinking, problem solving, ethical agency, all of those good things, that we can integrate the teaching and learning with AI in a way that cultivates these attributes. And we think that that requires a critical capability, a critical mindset. And we also believe another very important part of being AI capable is if we can co-create AI as a lifelong learning endeavor, that we're not just taking a once-off course, that we're learning about this in an ongoing, continuous way, because the environment is changing so rapidly. So these are some of the propositions that we are making around what is an AI-capable teacher, and we are inviting a conversation with all of you. Is this enough? Is something missing? What more do we need to add to the generation of a framework that would work in a Ghanaian context? Because this is a global conversation that we are hosting as UNESCO to work with all of you in refining and adapting for a relevant local context our AI competency framework. I'm not going to have time to go into the detail. We've identified the 5 competency aspects, and we've looked at how we can progress from basic to more advanced capabilities in the development of our skills, our talents, our competencies in AI for teachers and for students. And we invite you to look at this very carefully and engage with us on how we can develop a particular competency framework for KNUST and for...
At this point, we're taking a few questions. If you can get about 4, 2 for Darlington, 2 for Dr. Isaacs, we'll wrap up this session for the keynote speeches. Anything that you'd want clarification on from any of the keynote addresses that we've listened to this morning from Darlington and Dr. Isaac? Yes. You can join me, or I can just pass you the microphone.
All right, so my name is Abdul Rahman Abdullah. fourth-year student, and I'm the president of the United Nations Students Organization on campus. So my question is directed to Mr. Darlington Ako. We've learned a lot about AI in education, and then he gave us specifically in biological science. And so my question was, I wanted to know, is there any margin of error to consider in using AI in research?
Margin of error in AI. Thank you so much. Any more questions? We're taking 4. Abigail, unfortunately, at the back. Can we have any more? Okay. Kindly join me in front. Yes, sir. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Darlington said that by 2028, the AI systems will have human-level intelligence. What dangers should we expect when AI systems are having human-level?
Can you kindly speak into the microphone so we can hear the question properly?
I was saying that Mr. Darlington made us understand that by 2028, AI systems will have human-level intelligence. Of course, we should expect some dangers in that. Can Mr. Darlington clarify that for us?
All right. So the dangers. Darlington, I hope you're noting both questions down. All right.
Then I have a question for Dr. Isaacs. The AI capabilities, as she said, would enhance learning and teaching and critical thinking. But so far what I've heard, the criticisms about AI in academics is that it makes us academic, it brings academic laziness. Because if you can just click the button and it will do everything for you.
Yeah.
What is there for you to do?
What can we do about it? Dr. Isaacs, I hope you heard your question. How to safeguard ourselves from academic laziness.
Exactly.
Thank you. Dr. Isaacs has noted that. Abigail, can we have the microphone here? We have taken 2. If you are really interested about your question, I would love for you to come forward. Oh, you have a microphone there. Yes, please.
Hello, good morning. So my name is Yusuf, and I'm a
Can we have some decorum so we can hear the questions, please?
I'm an MPhil student in Biomedical Data Science, KNUST. So my question to Mr. Darlington is, as someone who has been trained by the university and is looking for further career exploits, does he have any advice for maybe creating startups or data companies here in Ghana so we can stay and not leave?
Or maybe he can take your details.
Yeah, so
Sharp cry.
My name is Benedict.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Benedict. I want to ask Mr. Darlington this question. I thank him for his presentation and the role of the academia. But my point has got to do with the application of the AI in healthcare. You know, healthcare is much regulated environment. I personally led a software deployment in Kumasi, drawing Ghana's e-health strategy. And to get a HIPAA compliant software is very tedious. So I'm asking him, the application of the AI in healthcare, is there any regulatory framework about the software product that the Ghana government is considering? Because we have a lot of products in the healthcare sector, and the healthcare sector is highly sensitive, and we have the issue of cyber attacks and how this AI system are going to be checked. So that's my I'm happy he's able to reduce the cost of healthcare, but I would also like to tackle on the issue of regulation in the application of the AI in the healthcare sector.
Well noted. Darlington Ford, Dr. Isaac 1. Vice Chancellor, with your permission, One more?
Yeah.
One more. Yes.
Hello.
Oh, already. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy with the presentation, but I want to find out how do you reconcile between the AI and plagiarism? How do you work? How do you reconcile that two?
So who are you throwing the question to, sir?
To any of them who is...
Dr. Isaac will take that. All right, so we'll have Dr. Isaac answer both questions. Dr. Isaac, so plagiarism and academic laziness. Kindly go ahead.
Would you like me to? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Program Director, and thank you to the colleagues who posed those very pertinent questions. I think the two are related. So the question around academic laziness, many people call it cognitive offloading or cognitive outsourcing. We are outsourcing our thinking to the AI, and that we are flattening, as a result, our cognitive capabilities. So that challenge is very real. Report after report is revealing the extent to which many students, many university lecturers and professors are in fact engaged in academic laziness, and which is the result of cognitive offloading. But I think what it raises, can we combat it? Maybe that is not the right question. We believe that the right question is to recognize that AI is shifting the fundamental pedagogical architectures upon which our university systems have been built. That's what's going on here. We've got to recognize that there's a fundamental shifting sands that's taking place pedagogically in the way we have historically taught and in the way we have structured learning in our universities. And so this change is inviting us to rethink our pedagogical architectures. We've got to rethink how do we define learning and teaching in the age of AI. How do we, very importantly, reframe and restructure our assessment systems? For example, our entire assessment system is based on exams, is based on essays and research reports and theses and outputs that are being assessed. But that, we think, is something that we need to fundamentally reconsider. So how do we assess thinking? Maybe we should be doing more PhD vivas instead of focusing only on a research report or thesis that is produced. We need to find ways that is more process-oriented in our assessment systems rather than output-oriented. We need to find ways that invites the assessment of critical thinking, not just the assessment of an output that could easily have been written by an AI. And so we think that that is the fundamental question. So there's no fixed, medicine panacea to solve the cognitive offloading challenge. But we think that we need to address the more systemic dimension of that. Apologies for that. We need to address the more systemic shift that is required in the way we redesign our curriculum, learning and teaching and assessment systems. The same applies to plagiarism. We have to recognize that the AI is so sophisticated that it is becoming increasingly difficult to detect plagiarism. All AI plagiarism detectors are becoming obsolete almost. And so that then means that we need to revisit again, how do we assess the learner's work and the fact that the learners learned, not just by outputs that is plagiarized because they've offloaded their thinking and got the AI to write their essays, but that we need to revisit how do we assess the learner and how do we inculcate a sense of values. And that is our invitation to all of you. We are keen to engage with you on examples, good practices on how universities have begun to reframe their pedagogical architectures. We have examples of universities that have introduced AI literacy, critical AI literacy, integrated into all of their curricula, and have also looked at how to shift the design of their curriculum and their pedagogies. And that, we believe, is the key part of the approach to plagiarism and cognitive offloading. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isaac. Darlington, you have about 4 questions.
I'll try. Okay, so the first question has to do with margin of error, right? So we all know, especially when it comes to generative AI systems, they hallucinate. But the difference here is that what we call, or the co-researcher, so with Moremi co-researcher, the use case and the way you build it is very different from, let's say, ChatGPT. What do I mean? In research, you have to use tools sometimes, especially if you are doing research that involves computational work. So in biology, you use a tool like GROMACS. GROMACS you use for molecular dynamic simulation. Then you use a tool like BLAST to be able to check if there is some match with existing compounds. What the AI system is doing, so this is what you call AI agents. The AI agents, instead of you having to learn how to use GROMACS, BLAST, and then Galaxy, and then 50 other tools which can take months for a project, the AI system knows how to use those tools, use them, and generate the result from the tools and provides them to you. The key difference here is that you are not asking the AI system to use its own knowledge to tell you the molecular dynamic simulation. That allows room for hallucination. You are instead letting the AI system use external tools, do the work, and bring you the results. So the way you reduce that margin of error is that you can always check the results that was produced by those external tools. And these are industry established tools. Every sector that has a well-developed computational side has this. So biology, they have computational biology tools. Material science, they have their computational tools. So the key goal here of co-researcher is not you saying, hey, I go do research, and then you leave it, and then the AI says, I think this is the right answer. No. Give the AI system access to the computational tools, let it use it, produce the result. Even something like literature review. So with Moremi co-researcher, it can go read thousands of papers and bring you the most relevant research. Check the citation. Don't just trust what the AI system is saying. Cross-check all those citations, which also partially answers the question about the laziness, right? If you just take the result of the AI system, because again, take it, if you have a research assistant, they come to you and they said, the assignment you gave me, this is it. You don't just take it and send it to Nature that we are done. You need to review. So look at it in that same perspective. The AI uses tools, produce all this research, cross-check it back to the result that came from the tool. Check the citation. Is it actually accurate? That is the synergetic relationship that we should be having with AI when it comes to academia, when it comes to research. Yeah. To quickly answer the remaining questions. So yes, of course, when you talk about AGI, sometimes it can spread some sense of fear and danger. The answer is that it entirely depends on what we do today. If we just let AI systems develop to the point where we have no control over them, or any actor can misuse them, then definitely we maximize the danger, right? Like Vice Chancellor said, we shouldn't leave it to the AI systems to tell us how they should be used. We should influence that. So the question is, I mean, we have other, as an adult, as a lecturer, as a professor, you always produce things that eventually match your own intelligence and surpass you. They are called students, right? Sometimes you train students and they go above and beyond, win awards, academic awards all over the world. The question is that what building blocks you put in place to ensure that as your students are reaching all these heights, as we are creating this new AI systems that will eventually get to the point, what are we doing today? What sort of alignment? So there's a whole area of research called alignment research. How do you align the AI system to our values? We have ethical values as Ghanaians, which is also very important. So Americans have their values, Ghanaians, we have our values. When Americans build their AI system, with the alignment, they embed their values. If we build our AI system, what are the cultural values that we put in there to ensure those alignment? Those are how we minimize those dangers. Any powerful technology tends to be double-edged. So let's not create the impression that there wouldn't be dangers, but it's entirely left to our actions, whether we minimize them or maximize those dangers. And then finally, advice to startups, and then regulations when it comes to healthcare. Advice to startups, I mean, we did a workshop with Responsible AI Lab just purposely on that, where we look at how do you take research you're doing here and then translate it into companies and startups. It will require a very long time to go into details about it, but briefly what I'll say is that if you are doing research, your goal is to answer potentially an unanswered question to some degree. When you are building a company, your goal is to solve a problem that enough people have, and they are willing to exchange some resources for it. So if you have a research idea, you've actually solved it. The question is now to find out who has that problem, and is this really a problem that is a true pain point? Once you find that, a lot of things will follow up. So you go to the community. If you've built an AI system as part of research you're doing here at KNUST for, let's say, farmers, go to the farmers, ask them that, is this truly a problem? Are you really facing issues when it comes to pests? If I use this AI to solve it, how much would you pay me for it? Sometimes people like solutions, but they don't like them enough, or they don't need them enough to pay for it. You can't build a sustainable business out of that. It can be a research paper you publish, but it won't be a business. So at the end of the day, it should always be tied to someone who owns that problem, and it's a strong enough pain point to exchange resource for. For healthcare, there's a lot of regulations, but the ones I'll highlight is that sometimes we actually underestimate our governance in Ghana. Ghana is actually one of the leading when it comes to regulations in healthcare, right? So FDA Ghana is a leader. Our director has actually been appointed as the head of African Medical Agency, AMA, right? So there is what we call software as a medical device, which sits under FDA Ghana. If you read it, it actually documents all what you need to do in compliance. What are the requirements for building AI software, any solution that can serve as a medical device? Outside of that, there's data protection regulations. We work with the Data Protection Commission a lot too as well. They have regulation if you're building products and it interface with personal identifiable informations, what do you need to do? So the two key things I would say is that if you're interested in healthcare, look at software as a medical device from FDA Ghana. Look at data protection regulations and the Data Protection Commission. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I have permission to pick the next batch. This will be the final one. So those who had their hands up but were unable to ask their questions earlier, can I see your hands up again? Can you please come forward? No, do come forward. We'll pick yours too. Yes, kindly join me. I saw one hand at the back. I don't know if you're still interested to ask the question.
Hello. So my question is directed to Isaac Shafika concerning we incorporating AI into our education system, which is actually good. So the question is, how do we define education and learning in the area of AI? Thank you. How do we define education and then learning in the area of AI?
How do you define education and learning
yes,
in the
area
area
of AI? Coming from the critical thinking point of view, how should we define it?
Okay. Dr. Shafika, I hope you got the question.
Good morning.
Yes.
My name is Felicia Mankwa, and I'm administrator at KNUST. My question is just, I understand that we are not going to leave anybody behind, but my concern is actually on people in the village. How can we address simple needs, even as a country? Simple needs like power cut. How does AI help us to address this need? Thank you very much.
So who are we giving this question to? Darlington, because I have no idea that Dr. Isaac would know what...
Dr. Isaac.
Dr. Isaac?
Yes.
Power cut.
Because she said we don't want to leave anybody behind. But as a country, as Ghana, simple issues like power cut, how does AI help us? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, please, go ahead.
From both presentations, it seems as if AI is the way forward for the next generation. So I want to ask if there is any educational policy that you are selling, especially Dr. Darlington. It seems you are working with the government. Do you have any policy to sell to the educational minister about the curriculum design for our young people that are upcoming? Because it seems we load them with so many subjects, but we know the focus now, which is the AI. So how do we strategize to redesign the curriculum to favor this younger generation that by 2030, I think we can all be there as a country? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The final one.
Thank you so much. My name is Doris Lonta. I work with City News. Please, my question has to do with the fact that we are encouraged to use AI, to assist us do our work easier and smartly. But we live in a space where when you use AI to do your work, then you are queried. I want to know how...
Is it the plagiarism that he was talking about earlier? Or it's different?
No, this is different. There are times you put prompts in just to guide you do your work. But the AI is such that when you are done and then you are, the other the AI detectives are used, then it will come that this is AI generated. But ideally, the work was done by you with the help of AI.
With the help?
Yes.
I think Dr. Isaacs explained this earlier about it being difficult to detect now. Yeah. But then at least Darlington can also address it.
Yes, recently we saw a student from Delphi actually suing an institution, his institution, for attributing his work to AI. We are actually not able to detect what is AI and what is not.
What is real work?
Yes. Now, when you write your essay smartly or in a refined way, it is attributed to AI. I just don't know how we can strike the balance.
You mean when you write it too well?
Yes, very well. Then it is assumed that you used AI.
When you write it too well, they feel you wrote it with AI.
Yes, so these are my concerns. Thank you.
I hope, Darlington, you will take this one for me. How do you tone it down? Dr. Shafika, if you can take the two questions.
So thank you, Madam Program Director, and thank you to the colleagues for the questions. Those are very big questions. They are complex questions for which there are no easy answers. So how do we define learning and education in the age of AI? We know, for those of us who are in education, that there are many theories of learning, many theories of how people learn and how children learn and how they learn in different contexts. So there are theories that suggest that we learn primarily through the neural networks in our brains, and these are people who believe in cognitivism, that we think a lot of our learning happens in the brain and that it is about the cognitive makeup of our brain and our nervous system, and that's how we learn. Others challenge that and believe that learning is a social process, that we learn in context and that we construct learning based on the context that we are in, called constructivism. And there are many other theories of learning that challenge or reinforce these theories. What AI is doing is AI is opening up our existing understanding and theories of learning. AI is opening up the idea that we can learn together with the machine, because the machine has its own learning capabilities through machine learning, and that if we interact with the machine, that we are co-creating a learning experience. That is a lot of the emerging theories that are being cited and are currently developing, are highlighting the need for us to revisit some of these fundamental theories that relate to Bloom's taxonomy, learning from very basic to more complex and higher order thinking. So how is AI changing that? Many of the emerging ideas are saying that we need to focus now a lot more on learning critically, learning to think critically. It's like Mr. Darlington said, that we don't just accept what the AI gives us when we prompt it, but that we ask critical questions about the answers that AI gives to every prompt, that we fact check, that we challenge. And that means that we have critical mindset, and that learning and teaching has to place a lot more emphasis on critical thinking, number one. Many other dimensions, but I'm also going to raise another dimension, and that we need to do more of learning about how to learn. And they call that metacognition or metacognitive learning, that AI opens up our education systems, including universities, to focus more on building our capabilities to learn how to learn, to stand back and reflect on how we are learning. Instead of rote learning and memorization, which is lower order thinking, that we need to cultivate higher order thinking, such as metacognitive thinking, and that there are theories that are now evolving. There's no clear-cut answers, but our theories of learning in the age of AI is evolving. A very important dimension of that is knowing how and when we do not use AI. It's not inevitable. There are many, many people who have come up now. One of them is Emily Bender, who's arguing very strongly that we need to consider rejecting AI, that AI is causing more harm, that it is based on hype, that a lot of the claims about how AI is good or inevitable in education is not based on evidence. There's very little evidence, and that in fact it is a con, and the title of her book is an AI con. And so in other words, there are lots of questions. There is very limited evidence. It is not inevitable. And we also, learning in the age of AI, we need to know under what conditions do we reject AI? Do we not use it in our learning and teaching systems? Do we create safer spaces for AI, and when it is harmful? And our regulatory environment, the regulations, whether it's in healthcare or in education, have to consider some of those things. So that's my very quick, very limited response to a very profound and very complex question about how to learn and how we do education in the age of AI. Thank you for that question, and it is an ongoing question we need to be keeping to answer. The second question was, how do we leave no one behind? Can AI help combating power cuts? I'm afraid the answer is no. In fact, AI is now using so much more power that it is risking more power cuts. We have seen in the US that there are massive data centers that are being developed that is really guzzling the power and the energy of the electrification ecosystem and elsewhere, and that the price of electricity is now escalating, and that one of the biggest constraints is the compute power and the energy that is needed to make this ecosystem keep growing as rapidly as it does. And so the biggest threat is, in fact, energy and power, and it's not going to mean the end of power cuts. In fact, it could actually threaten more power cuts as a result of AI, and so there are greater risks, therefore, it's now escalating, and that one of the biggest constraints is the compute power and the energy that is needed to make this ecosystem keep growing as rapidly as it does. And so the biggest threat is, in fact, energy and power, and it's not going to mean the end of power cuts. In fact, it could actually threaten more power cuts as a result of AI, and so there are greater risks, therefore, of more and more people being left behind, not less. There are huge risks of deepening inequalities, deepening biases, deepening of structural discrimination and exclusion, and we are already seeing evidence of that. Little bits of evidence are showing up. And so the question as to how do we produce AI that is equitable and inclusive and leaves no one behind, that is a big question mark. And we are at UNESCO inviting you to think about how we answer that question together, because the answer isn't easy, and the risk right now is that more and more people will be left behind if we do not, with urgency, address that very critical question. So thank you. I'm hoping I've raised some food for thought, because there are no clear-cut answers. Thank you for some very profound questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shafika Isaacs. Darlington, over to you.
Okay. So on the question of AI policy or policy for AI in education, I believe Dr. Shafika also mentioned some work that they are doing with the Ministry of Education. But one good thing is that in the National AI Strategy, the first pillar is dedicated exactly to this. So the goal here is that we want to produce a number of AI-capable minds within the country. As a matter of fact, one of them has already started, which is the 1 Million Coders Initiative under the Ministry of Communication. They've already started this. But your question is more of the existing curricula. How do we change it? So that's part of it. But one more work that has already started is the TVET. So I remember some months ago, there was a team that was assigned to revise the TVET curricula within Ghana to include AI. And then there are different teams that are also looking at this for different stages within our educational system. So all these things are happening. The goal now is that the speed at which we do them needs to move faster, in recognition of how things globally are moving. So we just need to speed up, but we've already started. Government is already doing a number of these things. The next question had to do with, so whether AI is frowned upon. So when you said it originally, I was wondering whether you were referring to within schools or within the workplace. Because within the workplace, I don't think any manager or employer will frown upon the usage of AI, so far as you are using it to generate results. So if you're using AI to produce documents and things that basically take, let's say, half of the time that it would take another person, everyone will be happy, because it means you can generate things for your client, you make more money, everyone is happy about that. In the educational system, you see, as a society or as a species, we are not built for rapid change like that. There's a little bit of shock that happens. So if you all remember when ChatGPT came out, schools around the world started banning it. Because it all happened like one day everything is moving a certain way. Next week it has changed. That was too fast. So there was a lot of reaction towards it. But if you've realized since then, a number of those universities have embraced AI around the world. The same thing is happening here. So there definitely should be and would be an evolution of education. The same thing happened when Google came around, right? So it used to be that you go to libraries and you spend time finding the right book, trying to get the right answers. And then all of a sudden you can just go online, ask a question, and then they retrieve it for you. There was this shock. When calculators came, the same thing. So AI is the new step in that trajectory of evolution. It's taking it to a whole different level. But there has to be a two-way evolution. So educational system has to adjust to the fact that there's a tool that you can ask questions and will give you the answer right then and there. Which means we need to pivot education in connection with what Dr. Shafika said, right? Critical thinking. So it's not how good is your essay anymore, because we now know anyone can produce good essay because they have AI. The question is that if you now are being asked to present your essay, can you present it as well? Do you have the critical thinking, logical, analytical skills to back your ideas? Or two people can be using AI, but the fact that one person can ask very brilliant questions to the AI, they produce way better essay, way better result than someone who just go and say, give me an essay, and then they get the result. So we should be prioritizing critical thinking, creativity, those building blocks. But also on the flip side, on the part of the students, if you are given a homework, of course you can give it to let's say someone you know to do it for you. What is the difference between that and being in the classroom and being asked to answer certain questions? Just because you are not going to manually do everything you are learning does not mean you shouldn't learn it. The whole goal here is not that you should use every... So you know people usually say, I learned Pythagoras theorem, but I've never used it in my real life. But then they forget that they are using softwares that are built on a bunch of those same algorithms that they don't think about. Or for example, if you want to walk between one building to one building, should you go straight or should you take the side? Those are all ways that Pythagoras theorem and some of the math you ignore come in application, right? So, so for students, it is not, yes, when you transition into the real world, you use AI for a lot of things that in class they will still require you to learn. It is not about, it's mainly about the mindset, you having the thinking capabilities. So that when the AI system is doing it in the future, you can better supervise that AI. So there should be an evolution on both sides and we'll be fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think they deserve a much louder round of applause. Thank you so much, Dr. Shafina Isaacs. Thank you so much, Mr. Darlington Akogo, for this depth of knowledge that you have shared with us today. We are very grateful. We are extremely grateful to the both of you. We'll have the Vice Chancellor join us for her thoughts on two keynote speeches. A round of applause to her, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. You would agree with me that we could stay here the whole day and have this conversation. Help me do it for Darlington and Shafika. Do it better, do it better, do it better. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Shafika. Thank you, Darlington. The conversation cannot end here. It has to continue. I cannot even dare try to summarize anything. No. But in reflecting on all that has been said today, I just want to draw your mind back to that little boy, smart little boy who wanted to play it funny with that old man. You remember that story? With that bird capped in his hand. You remember that story? And then he has that little bird from the forest capped in his hands. And then he asks the old man, what do you think? Is the bird dead or alive? You remember that story? And you remember the wisdom that the old man used to prove to that young chap that I have been on this earth long, long time ago before you appeared. So he said, at least for the AI, for the young ones, let me, because I think some of them cannot appreciate that story. So, with the bird cupped in his hands and the question posed, the old man looked at the boy and then quickly thought, so if I say the bird, so the question is the bird alive or dead? If I say it is alive, what would the boy do? If I say it is dead, he will release it for it to go. So the old man, you know the answer that the old man gave to the boy. The answer to the question that you have just posed is where? It's in your hands. The answer as to where AI would take generations, including us sitting here, is where? It's in our hands. It's in the hands of humanity. We will decide where AI will take us. That's my conviction. We will take that decision whether we want AI to take over everything. And you know the sentiments that are coming. And I still stand by my initial comments that AI will forever remain a tool. And Darlington, not to downplay your submission, it doesn't matter how human beings are able to navigate this AI space. I think I want to put my last penny on it. We cannot have a tool that can 100% represent Rita Akosua-Dickson. True or false? Oh, put your name there. Yes. So wherever we want to go, however we want to travel, and please, that is not to say that we should downplay the importance of this tool. And please, in this 21st century that we are in, now we are talking evolving or emerging technologies. Today is AI. Tomorrow, do you know what is coming? We better have a soft heart to be embracing these things. Otherwise, that alone, the shock will kill us. It will give us cardiovascular problems. We must really welcome and embrace these emerging technologies. Now the spotlight is on AI. And I'm happy to note, and I think for KNUST staff and students, I've said it on a number of platforms, so I just thought that we have had enough. But let me, because of the conversations that have gone on, register here that as a university and in line with the national AI strategy, being the leading science and technology university, of course, we are not sitting on the fence and just, observing. No. We have worked on the KNUST AI strategy. Academic board has blessed it. And as part of the strategy, so in that strategy, all the questions, and the lady from the CTFM, we try to address all these. How far should we go? How far must we, critically test what you have put before us? And remember what Shafika said. We have to learn how to learn now. Our pedagogical architecture. That is what it is doing. And we cannot remain static. If we do, the process will bypass us. So as a university, we have our AI strategy thanks to academic board, they've blessed it, council is equally on that. And as part of that, effective next academic year, every student in the university is going to take a micro-credential course in AI, a course across the university. Yes. And this will be run on our e-learning platform. What does this mean? What it means is that if I'm in first year and I want to do that course, and when you finish, you are certified, because we want to make them globally competitive. And indeed, Academic Board went a step further and said that Academic Board blessed the fact that even if staff also want to enroll, at least today we are in school, so we can all enroll, isn't it? And beef up our AI credentials. That must also be allowed. Effective next academic year. You could decide to do it first year, you could decide to do it second year. It is that flexible. But at the end of the day, once you're finished, you click the button and you are certified. And it is 1 credit. We know students, if you don't add credit, it will be left for we students here to do it ourselves. So that decision has been taken, and we will continue to work with the leadership of the nation. Interestingly, 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be at a certain funeral, and the minister, Sam George, Honorable Sam George, was there. So he said, Madam VC, so we brought the conversation up, and then we were referring to the coders, is it 1 million coders? So I quickly reminded him, please, KNUST, we are the leading science and technology. What is your plan? Then said, oh, we are going to be bringing about 200 laptops. I said, no. Did you want to say 500? To aid. So all I'm trying to say is that KNUST will continue to work with the leadership of the nation, work with other higher institutions, and ensure that where we need to go as a country, as far as AI is concerned, we will get there. Who doesn't want to use a tool that will reduce, cost? Not in the bad way, but in all this, the most important box that we must all tick is the ethical box. AI must be used. We must learn to use them. We want to be AI-capable teachers, lecturers, researchers, AI-capable administrators, AI-capable accountants, finance officers, AI-capable security officers, AI-capable medics, AI-capable, cleaners, AI-capable everything. But we need to do that very, very, very responsibly. That one box needs to be ticked, and we cannot sacrifice that. They have made the point very clear, both speakers, the effect on GDP, the fact that the whole world, they are looking up to Africa. For what was the percentage? 3%? Yes. If we don't up our game, some other places will add a percentage to their own. You understand what I'm saying? We will be played out. And you know, when we talk Africa, then we are talking Ghana. So we must take our rightful place. And as a leading science and technology university, the premier one for that matter, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has a charge to keep as far as using the AI tools ethically and responsibly is concerned. We thank you once again, our resource persons, and I believe that once we move into the colleges, the conversations will even be deeper and deeper. So let's keep talking. let's keep talking. Thank you very much. And having said that, I'm going to crave the indulgence and call Darlington here. For Shafika, I think I have to send the AI version. So we have some presentation to make. And on behalf of the entire university, we present this to you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's open it up a bit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. For Shafika, we'll arrange for her to get her own. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor. Thank you so much, Darlington. Thank you so much, Shafika. All right, at this point, we're going to have a launch. And to help us with this launch, I would like to invite our guests, two people. I would first invite Mr. Dennis Vismula, the CEO of Diagnostic Center Limited, Ghana's foremost diagnostic provider, expanding access to advanced imagery and laboratory services. He brings a long career in developing businesses across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, driving growth through innovation and operational excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me on stage. I also invite Nima Jan, founder and CEO of Prosperity Health Ventures, creator of Basic Care Ecosystem, connecting pharmacies, labs, and clinics with AI-powered healthcare technology across Africa. She holds a computer engineering degree and an MBA as well. I would like to invite you also. Thank you so much. Now I would hand the microphone to you to take us through the launch of the app.
Started an entire journey where I was building data model after data model for different areas, but there was no correlation between them. So this is the journey of how then I switched to using a software. So Python helped a lot with some of the correlations. However, that assumes that the rest of the variables are constant. What does that mean? The age demographics is the same. The level of urban development is the same. The level of pollution is the same. There's a lot of variables that you're not accounting for. And that is how we led our journey into AI. So AI here is not predicting what the actual disease is, but it's running data analytics to help us deliver better healthcare. So what is the most common thing that we're seeing these days? There is a rise of chronic illnesses across Ghana. That is the one theme that we have seen over the last 5 years as a diagnostic player. And what does this translate to? We're seeing younger people have heart attacks. Okay, but how does that actually mean anything? Well, okay, let's look at some of our data patterns. How often do people just go and say, I'm absolutely fine, but let me run a complete wellness check on myself today? How often does that happen here? Not that often based on our answer. People wait for something to be wrong and then go to the doctor to figure out what the problem is. So in that sense, we've already passed what is the actual, we've already started showing symptoms, right? Almost at this point. So when we get to that point, if we had just been able to diagnose a bit earlier, when there were no symptoms to preventative screenings, it would have actually helped us a lot sooner. So all of this put together, our idea behind building what we're going to show you, Basic Care, was to just imagine if all these disparate systems were able to speak to each other, and then basically just build a patient profile that says, okay, in this part of the country, you are seeing a higher incidence of road accidents. And based off of that data, we can now extrapolate that that area actually needs a CT scan, right? Because head trauma and CT becomes the most required. So that is what we have built, and that is the challenge that we've addressed in our solution.
Next slide. So when it comes to AI, especially at Diagnostic Center and PHV, we use AI in a variety of different ways. And most of it is not just to make diagnostics more available, to also make it more intelligent. And at this stage, we've been mainly using AI to assist us in making our work easier. I know Darlington has spoken a lot about his model, and I've seen it, and it's very impressive. But it's baby steps as well, making sure that everybody's comfortable with implementing it and that we're comfortable with using it and working with it. So in terms of AI in imaging, at the moment we use AI a lot for our radiographers in terms of the equipment that we have. A lot of the international equipment manufacturers have AI built into their equipment, and it allows us to speed up the time of treating completing the procedure. It also ensures that we don't have to redo images frequently because of the actual positioning and the use of the AI. And that, in turn, helps us reduce radiation exposure and repeat scans. We also use it in terms of speeding up our reporting. So turnaround time in Ghana is extremely important. Patients need to be treated very, very quickly and efficiently. So in our BESA DX solution, we have built-in voice-to-text transcription. So things that were done manually previously has been built in and automated, and an instant report is effectively produced. This allows obviously radiologists to focus on more value-add activities in the entire kind of diagnostics value chain. And the last bit is about AI in learning. So we want to make sure that obviously all this converts into real-world scans, into teaching materials. We want to be part of building institutional knowledge through sharing our data with educational institutions and other companies that are out there developing AI. And the continuous drive to improve quality, so that over time we can build smarter, or we can create smarter clinicians, and we can continue to improve the diagnostics that we deliver on.
Thank you. So just going quick into what is BESA Pharma. So basically it's a digital platform that allows pharmacies, labs, screening partners to basically input tests as they do it in remote areas. It interprets it based on the lab reference ranges that actually have existed in Ghana in the different regions. And what it does then is that it feeds it all into our data model, from where we can extrapolate disease burden, where we can probably in the future even predict, okay, we're starting to see these patterns happen in this area. Maybe there is a need to go and do an educational awareness session about hypertension. It could be. So that's what we've tried to build. So it's beyond testing, it's results that contribute to disease burden and analytics, and data that identifies community trends in different parts of the country. So insights that can guide lifestyle recommendations and also early intervention. That is our critical piece. And if we just move to the next slide, so we can go through this faster.
Next slide.
Yeah, so this just shows you some aspects of what a report from our software looks like. We are using this software outside in the screening that I will talk about 2 slides from now. So you can actually experience it yourself. I think that'll be better than us taking time up here for everybody. So if we can move to the next slide. Okay.
Right, so next I want to talk a little bit about our collaboration and obviously our gratitude to KNUST for the opportunity today. We very much feel that a partnership is based on a shared vision, and from everything that we've heard here today is that we very much share the vision of KNUST and all the distinguished participants today. So I would in particular like to acknowledge Dr. Bhavana Singh, who we feel has been a passionate advocate for diagnostics and a proud member of KNUST, and has encouraged us significantly to become part of the family and to establish our presence here in Kumasi. I think also, as a whole, we want to extend our appreciation to KNUST through our commitment to provide scholarships for outstanding students, in particular in medical diagnostics and medicine. So that's something we would we would welcome having a discussion on with KNUST going forward. And as an organization, thank you. As an organization, we're also here to support training, mentorship, and capacity building. Obviously, across our various centers, we have a lot of advanced imaging equipment and lab equipment. So we'd be happy to look at collaborations on that front as well, to provide specific training and mentorship as may be required. And then continuing partnerships to help bridge academia and healthcare innovation, and bridge that gap and collaborate between the public and the private sector.
Thank you. And then, as I said, just to demonstrate the software, and also as part of our commitment to this partnership, we decided that it would be good to have, actually the next slide, please. It would be good to have a free health screening outside. We're located outside, and it covers the test, as you can see on the screen, and it gives you an opportunity to interact with us and also learn more about us. Yeah. And then the last slide is just a thank you to all of you for the attention that you've given us during, I'm assuming it is not more than 15 minutes, but thank you to KNUST for your leadership in education, science, innovation, and technology, and for having us here. And I wish everyone a nice day.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And they left out that is absolutely free and voluntary. It's voluntary. And we highly recommend that you pass through to take the test. Just outside, before we go and eat. A few announcements before we go. Let me first of all, with your help, thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, for being here today. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Of course, the Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor David Asamoah, for being here. Thank you so much. Our Registrar, Mr. Benjamin Bompong-Owusu. Thank you so much. Our Finance Officer is here as well, Dr. Charles Nsia. A round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Our Internal Auditor, Mr. Moses Chikwe, also joined us. Thank you so much. Provosts who are here today, Professor Kwabena Brichu Nyako, Provost for the College of Engineering. Thank you. Provost for the College of Science, Professor Leonard Amakuji. Thank you so much. Director, IDL, Professor Anthony Andrews, thank you so much for your presence. Director, School of Graduate Studies, we have Professor Michael Pokubwenzi here today with us. Thank you so much. We have Director for the Directorate of Student Affairs, Professor Mariana Santua Nkansa. Thank you so much. Director for OGR, Professor Philip Nchiejay, also with us here this morning. Director, University Health Services, Dr. Nana Kwame Aisi-Boateng, here with us today. Thank you so much. Director, UITS, Mr. Emmanuel Afo, also with us today. Thank you. Director, E-Learning, Professor Eric Apo Asante. Thank you so much. We'd like to thank reps from the French Embassy. Julian, thank you so much. Thank you so much also for coming. And of course, to Nima and to Dennis, thank you so much. We'd like to thank all of you for making this opening ceremony such a success. Full house. Everybody repped. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you very, very, very much. A few announcements. If you came in without your biometrics taken, kindly do so, register, so you can get your certificates. So if you walked in and you were not able to register, please kindly register. We'll take lunch behind the auditorium. We'll take lunch behind the auditorium. May I have my cameraman join me? Somebody's Visa card. Franklin Mensah, your Visa card is here. All right. May I please have management, together with the planning committee of this year's summer school, the 11th KNUST summer school, join us for this photograph. Please let me call Reverend Dr. Champon to help us pray with us, and then we'll take the picture.
Please let us pray. Our Lord and our God, you are the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. We thank you for such a wonderful day, and we bless your name for this program. We thank you for its organization and for all the facilitators. We thank you for the strength and the ability you accorded all of us to study. We thank you for the insight that we have all gained today. This is the beginning of this 3-day program. We commend ourselves to you and the rest of the days ahead, asking that your Spirit will continue to lead, guide, and direct us. Help us so that the targets and the vision we have set for ourselves will be accomplished, to help us develop and advance as a university. Glory and honor be to you for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name. Please bless the food we have also for us. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
We'll take our photographs now. Management with the planning committee. May I have the planning committee? Whichever subcommittee you are on, please join us for the photograph. May I have Julian join us? May I have Julian join us for the photograph? Please go to the back of the auditorium for your lunch. The planning committee. Even if you're part of a subcommittee, please join in the photograph. Tomorrow we start with the units. Kindly check the brochure. Check where your unit will be meeting and the time. Participate in all the units' activities. Kindly check the brochure. Franklin Mensah, your Visa card is still with me. I'll leave it at the manager's office.